Water is life! 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 Water is life!
Wow, what a scene. 2000.
Water is life!
You're seeing
Water is
dozens
life!
of armed officers as we are here to support Amy Goodman and Myron doing
Water is
themselves
life!
into Morton County.
Water is life!
As you can see, we are being surrounded. These are a lot of cops that were on the bridge. We recognize the people that are here.
Please, everyone to tune in. This is a ridiculous time. 2016.
He's the Father. I feel sorry for them. Please feel sorry for them. Please feel sorry for them. We love you. We love you. Take care of your family.
Guys, I know it's just a step back, but if I can keep you on the grass, we want to keep everybody safe, all right? I really appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate you. Love you, man. Hey, you over there, Brownie. I love you, man. Keep Brownie, okay? We're here for your children. A little bit more.
We love you.
You're doing a good job.
We
Hey,
love
can you cry a
you.
little bit more for
We
me?
respect
Good
you.
job.
Love you.
Nice Brownie. We love you, Brownie. Hey, who's the Brownie on this?
You dropped your smile.
We love you.
We love you. We love you. We are not here to hurt you. We love you. We love you. We love you. We come peaceful. We love you. We love you. We love you, brother.
So right now, everybody.
Do you look at your children at night and how
Hey, you're a tough guy. I love you. You're really tough. I love you. Protection. Great tough guy. I love you. Stay on the grass.
Everybody needs to stay on the grass.
Stay on the grass.
Love, respect, peace, love, respect, peace, love,
They've taken one of our brothers. Anybody that is not on the grass is subject to arrest.
Words can't even describe.
Everyone get on the grass.
I haven't. Most of these cops don't really want to.
We're protecting the water.
This is about water being life.
Water is life.
We stand
We are protecting everybody.
with our
brothers.
and our sisters.
And our sisters.
We stand.
We stand.
With our people.
With our people.
For one nation.
For one nation.
We stand.
We stand.
For water.
For water.
For life.
For life.
We stand.
We stand.
With our brothers.
With our brothers.
And our sisters.
And our sisters.
We stand.
We stand.
With our people.
With our people.
For one nation.
One nation.
We stand.
We stand.
For water.
For water.
For life.
For
She's on the grass.
We're watching you too. Pray for them. Prayer.
Don't let them take our brothers and sisters. Stand strong. One nation. We're all here together. Everybody keep sharing this across the world.
Against the people of this country. This is very similar to exactly how it was when we were protesting on the pipeline road.
For anybody who just joined,
One nation! One nation! One nation! One nation!
Jamie Goodman and her staff, Amy's out here. Let her through. Let her through. Let her through.
Everybody get on the grass!
Back up! Make room! Make room! Back up!
Tom. They're prolonging this.
Excuse me. Can I go around you? Thank you.
Yeah.
everybody sit down. Everybody get down. Everybody down. Let them go. Sit down. Everybody sit down. Let them go. You let them go.
Listen!
Assemble. This lot right here, the sidewalk.
Okay. Okay. If everyone comes, everybody step back this way.
Go back.
Give me this.
Let's go back.
Turn off the light mic I gave you.
I don't know which is yours.
It says DN Kid on it. The other one. The other one. Sorry, Amy.
Okay.
You want it off, Sean?
Off. Turn it off.
We're done. I don't know it.
Just turn it off.
DN1 or
Open
2?
panel and turn it off.
DN1. You take it. Okay, just a second. Wait a second. No.
Okay, good. Okay, now use the handle. Thank you. Just take that away so when...
John, hand it to me.
Okay, now we got it.
Okay. Everyone. Wait.
Quiet! Quiet!
Quiet.
Quiet!
Okay.
Listen!
Amy Goodman is about to make a brief statement.
First of all, I would like to introduce my lawyer, Tom Dixon, who is here from Bismarck, who will make a brief statement. As you may have heard, I was going into court today at 1:30 to face riot charges. Tom will speak, and then my other attorney, Bree Brody, will speak. And then I'd like to introduce you to the Democracy Now! Team. Woo!
Good afternoon, everybody.
Really loud. Okay.
Water is life, real loud.
Good afternoon. On Friday afternoon, the criminal trespass charge, which was a frivolous criminal charge, was dismissed against Amy Goodman. At that time, we were informally informed there would be a second charge filed against her in engaging in a riot, a Class B misdemeanor charge. And we were informed that she was going to appear in front of the judge at 1:30 today to hear the charge and to get bond set. This morning we were informed the judge refused to find probable cause for that charge. I spoke with the Morton County State's Attorney Al Copy this afternoon. The case against Amy Goodman is now dismissed.
Victory song!
We are winning!
Dismiss all the cases.
We love you, sister!
Thank you, Amy. What about our other sisters?
One step, it's done! We are winning!
And I just want to say now that the case is dismissed. Amy Goodman is a free woman.
What about our brother Dewey?
Thank you for being out here. Let me just say that Amy Goodman was always a free woman. When the prosecutor misguidedly decided to file charges against Amy Goodman, he decided to go after the wrong person. Amy Goodman is not intimidated, and this dismissal, this rejection of the charges, is a complete vindication of the right of a journalist to report on the truth, and more importantly, the right of the public to know what is happening with the pipeline and with the struggle of the people here to protect their water and to protect their land.
What about Dewey?
It is a great honor to be here today. The judge's decision to reject the state's attorney, Lad Erickson's, attempt to prosecute a journalist, in this case me, is a great vindication of the First Amendment and of our right to report. On September 3rd, the Democracy Now! Team came to North Dakota, to the Standing Rock Sioux Reservation, to the resistance camps, to cover this epic struggle. Native people on the front lines, particularly Native American women, on the front lines, who are taking on not only the Dakota Access Pipeline, but a global issue of climate justice, taking on the global issue of global warming. Democracy Now! Has been covering climate justice issues for the full 20 years that we have been broadcasting. We go to every UN climate summit. So often it's indigenous people on the front lines. We covered the Keystone XL pipeline. Now we're covering the Dakota Access Pipeline. And the important role of a journalist is to go to where the silence is. We should not be alone in the major media coming to cover this historic unification of Native Americans from more than 200 tribes from Latin America to the United States to Canada. All of the media should be there, given the scope of this struggle, and we encourage all of the media to come here. We certainly will continue to cover this struggle. It's not only to protect the water and land rights, but it's covering your right to speak, to be heard. We are not the only ones who have been charged. We faced misdemeanor. I faced misdemeanors. But I know there are a number of people who are going to court even as we speak here. Also important to point out other journalists who are being arrested. The state's attorney was attempting to stop journalism. The state's attorney must respect freedom of the press and the First Amendment. On September 3rd, we came to North Dakota and covered the Native Americans going down the road from the camp to plant their tribal flags at their burial ground. They were surprised to learn at their sacred ground, and I'm sure a number of you were there, that the Dakota Access Pipeline was actually actively excavating at that moment on this holiday weekend. They urged the bulldozers to stop. The security guards came out with their dogs and pepper spray. The dogs bit the protesters. Democracy Now! Videotaped the bloody dog with blood dripping from his mouth and his nose, biting not only protesters or protectors, the land and water protectors, but the Native Americans' horses as well. These images went viral. 14 million people almost immediately saw these images around the world. All of the networks then published, then played excerpts of that video. CBS Evening News, NBC, MSNBC, CNN, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, BBC, NPR, and it went on from there. We call that trickle-up journalism. The state cannot stop this journalism. The state must not stop this journalism. Violating the First Amendment is not good for North Dakota. It's not good for this country. I want to, we together, and I want to point out my colleagues, the Democracy Now! Team, John Hamilton, who continues to film today, as he has been filming with us. Laura Goddard.
Thank you, brother.
Laura, where are you? Laura, wave your hand. Who is tireless in her reporting on these issues. And Dennis Moynihan behind me, who is, this team was so critical in bringing out the story. I also want to thank Hani Massoud, and again, our lawyers Reed Brody and Tom Dixon. Most importantly, I want to thank everybody for being here, for showing up, for standing up for freedom of the press. And standing up for freedom of the press goes beyond journalism. Freedom of the press is about the public's right to know. That right to know is sacred. That's what makes a democracy meaningful, when you are able to make informed decisions. We've got to open up the media to everyone's voice. I see the media as a huge kitchen table that stretches across the globe, that we all sit around and debate and discuss the critical issues of the day. When you hear someone speak for themselves, a Lakota grandmother, an Ojibwe grandchild, it breaks down barriers. It challenges the caricatures and stereotypes that fuel the hate groups. It is so important that we open up this dialogue. You don't have to agree with what you hear, but you begin to understand where people are coming from. That's the beginning of peace. I think the media can be the greatest force for peace on earth. Unfortunately, all too often it's wielded as a weapon of war, which is why we have to take the media back. Thank you for coming out here today. We will continue to cover what happens at the resistance camps, what happens on the reservation, what happens at the excavation sites, what happens behind the bars in the Mandan jail. One of the issues we've been covering now extensively just today is the number of people charged with low-level misdemeanors like, Dr. Sarah Jumping Eagle, the pediatrician on the reservation, on the Standing Rock Reservation, charged with disorderly conduct, brought to this jail and strip searched. Wow. The chair of the Standing Rock Sioux tribe, the chair, Standing Rock Sioux's Dave Archambault, charged in a civil disobedience, brought to this jail and strip searched. It is very important that we cover all of these issues. More than 140 people have been arrested so far. Democracy Now! Will continue to be there, this daily grassroots global news hour. We send a shout out to the media at the camp, to Native media all over. It's so important that your voices are broadcast, that you capture what's happening on the ground as well. And we demand that the corporate media also come here and broadcast the voices of those who are on the front lines of democracy. Democracy Now! Is about movements. It's movements that make history. Thank you for being here, for talking to us.
Amy, are you going to